All right. And grabbing any blankets or bolsters or anything that we need, pillows, any sort of items. Just getting comfortable. And we'll just, in a comfortable seated position, we'll get grounded onto our mats. Try to keep the spine lengthened, shoulders away from the ears. Sitting on the edge of a block might feel nice right now to elevate the hips a little. Closing the eyes or keeping a soft gaze open. And just noticing what the breath feels like. Noticing the incoming breath through our nostrils. And even noticing the subtleties, just noticing if the breath is coming in through one nostril versus the other. Noticing what the temperature of the breath is. Noticing the rise and the fall of our chest as our breath comes in. And noticing the expansion of our navel. So maybe even placing one hand on the navel, the other hand on the heart. And just noticing the movement of our body in accordance with our breath. The hand on the navel moving as our navel moves away from our spine on every inhale, filling in with air. And then the navel hugging the spine as we release air on our exhale. So we're aiming to keep the breath down into our chest and our belly. We're moving away from shoulder breathing, which is often shallow breathing, and we're really moving the breath down into our navel, using our diaphragm, the fullest extent of our lungs as we can. And rooting and anchoring into the present moment, leaving whatever it is that we walked in with outside of our yoga mat, and leaving what we are walking into also outside of our yoga mat. Our mat representing the present moment, the present space, the present awareness. And also taking this time along with the breath to notice any physical sensations in the body. And feel free to release your hands back to your knees as you do so, or you can keep one hand on the heart, one hand on the navel. But as we start noticing our physical sensations, we are becoming aware of what they are, but without judging or labeling them. Especially not labeling them as good or bad, right or wrong, simply just observing, just noticing what is in our body. Perhaps we feel tingling, coolness, warmth, pressure, maybe even numbness, depending on how we're sitting. Whatever it is that we're feeling, just simply noticing it. Sitting alongside it without becoming it. Using this grounding into the body as a way to bring ourselves to the present moment, along with our breath, helping us to anchor into the now. along with the breath and the body, just noticing what is happening in the mind. Once again, not judging or labeling anything as good or bad, right or wrong, simply just observing, knowing that it's okay to have what is called a monkey mind, where our mind can wander, we have lots of racing thoughts. That is very human. It's a very human thing to experience, and it's okay that we experience that. Simply just observing the quality of the thoughts, noticing any recurring thoughts, saying thank you to the thoughts that are entering, and then coming back to the present moment. Saying thank you, I'll see you in a little bit. Coming back to the present moment, anchoring into the body, anchoring into the breath. So while we're here in this grounding presence, I'm going to read a passage, a short passage from this book that I love called Journey to the Heart. It's all about daily meditations, and the author is wonderful, Melody Beattie, or Betty. I might be saying her last name wrong. So I'm going to read today's passage, and I want you to think about what resonates with you from this passage at all. And we can use this as an intention for our practice today, or if there's any other intention that you see fit for your practice. This passage is called "The Light Will Illuminate Your Path." And she's giving a story that she experienced. It was almost 11 o'clock at night. I was driving down a highway in Colorado on the west side of the mountains. I was exhausted, driving and driving, hoping I was going somewhere, hoping the road led to some place where I could rest and replenish myself. Whenever I would become fearful, wondering if I had taken complete leave of my senses, I'd look up in the sky. A crescent moon was snuggled between two mountains. It seemed to urge me on, beckoning me to drive toward it. Finally, I reached the place marked by the moon. It was a lodge not listed in any directory, in a town not even on my map. It had a mineral bath on the grounds, and yes, an available room. Sometimes when I'm driving late at night on a strange road and I'm not sure which turn to take, I look for a light. The moon might be setting above a particular place, lighting it with its glow. The lights of a city might brighten one direction more than another. A certain road appears lighter, feels better, feels right. Often that's what happens in our lives. When we get to a fork in the road and we're not certain which direction to go, there's usually one path that appears lighter than another. Sometimes the light is dim. Sometimes it can only be seen with the eyes of our soul, the eyes of our heart. But it's also a light that can be clouded and blocked by fear, tenseness, and lack of faith. Relax. Tune into your body. Trust your heart. Look around. When you don't know which way to go next, wait. Soon a path will open up. It will appear lighter. It will feel right. So just noticing how we are responding in mind and body to this passage with the theme of finding the light. And if we don't see the light right now, we know it's coming. We might have to wait, but we know that it's there. So we can set that as a class intention for the practice, to finding the light in our practice as we move through. And if there's any other intention that you'd like to set for your practice, please repeat that intention to yourself in this moment. We'll come back to that intention as well. Slowly start to deepen the breath. Wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, creating some gentle movement. And gently shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Let's do that again, shrugging the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Gently blinking open the eyes, coming off of our blocks or our blankets and coming onto our hands and our knees. Getting ready for a few rounds of cat and cow, adding some movement into the spine. The fingers are spread wide, the knees are hips width apart, the gaze is down. Resuming our normal breathing to begin with. On our next inhale, bring the belly towards the mat, bringing the gaze up, coming into cow. And exhale as we round the spine, the gaze moving towards the belly into cat. Inhaling again, belly moving towards the mat, gaze up into cow. And exhale as we round the spine. Continue doing a few more rounds of cat and cow with your own breath, your own timing, maybe even closing the eyes, just noticing what's occurring and see if you can find the light, whatever that means to you. Sometimes in our practice, we can be doing a pose or we're feeling uncomfortable in some way. Maybe we're putting pressure on ourselves to have a pose look a certain way or to be feeling something different, but maybe those are the moments that we can really find the light in our practice. Keep that breathing going. While that is being done, I will put the Spotify playlist into the chat box so that when you're done, you can start playing that. So continue doing your cat and cow. Keeping that breathing going, really noticing what is happening in the body. Continue doing a few more rounds of this. Good. And feel free to move a little bit more in your cat and cow, so you can move your hips in circles. For some of you, it may feel good to flip the wrist, pointing the fingers towards you if you have any wrist tension, especially if we use the computer a lot. Feel free to also gaze back at your heels, getting a nice lateral stretch in the spine. Just doing a few more breaths here of cat and cow. Beautiful. And come back into a neutral tabletop position whenever you're ready. And sitting back on your heels, coming into child's pose, the arms out in front of you, the forehead down to the mat. Maybe rocking the whole body left and right if that feels good for you, the forehead left and right. Beautiful, keeping that breath moving. And on the next breath, slowly roll up to a seated position and take the next 5 to 10 breaths to play the Spotify playlist that I put in the chat box if you would like, and to get comfortable into our first downward dog. Doing any movements that you need as well. We'll all meet in a downward dog in about 10 breaths. Getting comfortable or doing whatever it is that you need in order to get comfortable on the way to downward dog. So take this next time to do what your body needs right now. There's no itinerary in this moment. Doing what your body is telling you that you need right now. Feel free to play the Spotify. If you do play Spotify, just make sure to not have it be shuffled. Beautiful, keeping that breath going. Take about 5 more breaths wherever you are. Making sure that we're still keeping that breath in the lower part of our body, really expanding the belly with every breath, moving away from shoulder movement, more into diaphragmatic breathing. Take about 2 more breaths to get into a downward dog. Let's all meet in our downward dog. When you do get into your downward dog, just notice what it feels like. Find the light in this moment. Spreading the fingers wide, Really rooting down into those inner corners of both of the hands. The feet are hips width apart approximately, and it's okay to keep a slight bend in the knees. Raising the hips high, shoulders away from the ears, relaxing the jaw. All right, we're all in our downward dog right now, breathing here, nodding the head yes, shaking the head no, releasing tension in the neck. Look to the front of your mat. Gently walk your feet to your hands, taking your time, coming into a gentle forward fold, grabbing opposite elbows, letting the neck and the head hang, bending the knees as much as feels good to you, and swinging left and right if that feels good, ragdoll. Keeping that breath moving. Release the hands down to the mat and slowly, slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Taking your time. When you get to the top, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. All right, so we're gonna start the yang part of our practice, which is sun salutations. Please modify as we go through, and feel free to take your time staying in something longer that feels good for you. Listen to your body, right? Find the message that our body is sending us. Coming to the front of the mat, toes together, heels apart, standing tall, fingers spread wide, shoulders away from the ears, reaching the crown of the head to the sky as we start our Surya Namaskar A, our sun salutation A. Take a deep inhale as we bring the arms up to the sky, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale as you forward fold, hinging forward at the hips, Uttanasana. Inhale as you come up halfway, hands on shins or fingertips on the mat. Breathing here, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale as you bend both knees, plant both hands. Bring the left foot back, bring the right foot back. Coming into our first high plank. So we're really using our core here and we're really activating the whole body. Our shoulders are over our wrist, fingers are spread wide. Shoulders directly over the wrist, so not past, not behind. Our kneecaps are lifted. We're on the balls of our feet. Our heels are reaching behind us as if we are basically having our feet against a wall. The gaze is down, the neck is long, the core is engaged, hugging the belly to the spine. Breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go straight back into downward dog, reaching those hips high towards the sky, fingers spread wide, shoulders away from the ears. Take 3 deep breaths here in downward dog. You can bend the knees, wag the tail, whatever is comfortable for you. On the last breath, look to the front of your mat. Step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana. Gaze up at the palms, palms towards the sky. Palms down at the heart, Anjali Mudra. And to the side, Samasthita. Once again, picking it up more. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale as you plant both hands. Once again, bringing the left foot back, the right foot back, coming into a high plank once again. This time, lower all the way down. So you're lowering all the way down onto your belly. Untuck the toes. Push the hands about 6 inches in front of you. 6 inches in front of you. And keep the gaze down. The neck is long. As you inhale into cobra, squeeze the elbows towards the body. Breathing here, getting a little back bend. And exhale as you come back down. So a couple options for the next time we do cobra, staying here. If you want to deepen your cobra, bring the hands closer to underneath your shoulders, where we were before, or keep the hands out in front of you. Once again, bring the gaze down, the crown of the head reaching in front of you. Wherever you are trying to squeeze the elbows and the arms into the body. Inhale as you rise up, cobra, squeezing those elbows into the body, breathing here, Bhujangasana, and exhale as you come back down. If your hands are not underneath your shoulders, slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck the toes, lift the knees up, squeeze the elbows into the body. Breathing here, engaging that core as you push up into high plank. Go back into downward dog. Good job. Breathing here, taking 2 deep breaths here. Nodding the head yes. Shaking the head no. Look to the front of your mat. Step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Palms down at the heart and to the side. And again, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, as you plant both hands, bend both knees, bring the left foot back. Bring the right foot back, coming back into your high plank. Option to do the cobra variation that we just did for your vinyasa. Otherwise, moving into the full vinyasa, shifting the shoulders past the wrist, bending the elbows into the body, Chaturanga Dandasana. Breathing here. As we inhale, the heart comes through, tops of the feet on the mat, cobra or upward dog. And exhale as we roll over the toes, breathing here in our downward dog. Taking 2 deep breaths here. Nodding the head yes. Shaking the head no. Look to the front of your mat. Step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Palms down at the heart and to the side. Keeping that building of heat and momentum going. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, step or jump back, Chaturanga or Cobra. Breathing here as we move through our vinyasa. We'll all meet back in downward dog. Taking your time, listening to your body and finding the light in this moment. What is one light part of this moment that we have? Breathing here. Shoulders away from the ears, fingers are spread wide. And if you have more room to work with as the body heats up a little, feel free to bend your knees, plug your chest to your knees, and then lengthen the heels down towards the mat, really raising those hips higher towards the sky. Shoulders away from the ears, nodding the head yes, shaking the head no. Look to the front of your mat, step or jump your feet to your hands, inhaling halfway up, exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Palms down at the heart and to the side. Starting our Surya Namaskar B, Sun Salutation B. Sit back, Utkatasana, awkward chair pose. We're tucking that tailbone in, lifting that heart high as we can. Pick up the toes and then gently place each toe down on the mat. Shoulders away from the ears. Breathing here, sitting back even deeper. Imagining you're on a chair and that chair is being scooched away from you. And you're just trying to touch the edge of that chair. Breathing here, heart lifted higher. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, straighten the legs, forward fold, Uttanasana. Good job. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, step or jump back, moving through your vinyasa. We'll all meet back in downward dog. Listening to the body, listening to what kind of vinyasa the body needs. Does it need a full chaturanga? Does it need cobra? Or maybe you just want to go straight into downward dog, and that's okay. Those are all beautiful paths to the same outcome. And there's no wrong path, there's no right path. Just like life. Moving the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing here. Staying here in our downward dog. Float that right leg up to the sky. Long 3-legged dog. Open up that right hip by bending that right leg. Breathing here. Straighten that right leg up to the sky. Breathing here, three-legged dog. Shift forward, bringing your right knee to your nose. Engaging that core. That right knee is lifted high above the mat. Keep that breath moving, round that spine. And float that right leg back up to the sky, long three-legged dog. Shift forward, bringing that right knee to the nose, hovering that knee high, breathing here, engaging that core. Float that right leg back up to the sky. Shift forward, bringing your right knee to your nose. This time, place that right foot down on the mat. Place that left heel down on the mat. Both heels are touching the mat. Rising up into Warrior One, Virabhadrasana One. Just check that the hips are squared towards the front of the mat. Your left foot is at about a 45-degree angle towards the top left corner. Your right toes are facing forward. That right knee is tracking over that right ankle, standing strong and really rooting into both of our feet. Options here for arms. Arms can be shoulders width apart or palms together, gaze up. Breathing here for 2 more deep breaths. Activate that back leg. Activate that front leg, feeling the heat building here in our strong warrior. On the next breath, bring both hands down around that right foot. Come onto the ball of your left foot. You're in a low lunge. Use that core, hug the belly to the spine. As you round the spine, using that core, bring that right foot back to meet the left foot. You're in your high plank. Breathing here in your high plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Move through your vinyasa or go straight back into downward dog. And know that child's pose is always available to you at any time. That's what your body needs. That's what your body needs. There's no wrong or right way to practice yoga. The right way is the way that your body wants right now in this moment, in each moment. Shoulders away from the ears, breathing here in our downward dog. On the next breath, float that left leg high to the sky, long three-legged dog. Open up that left hip by bending that left leg, breathing here, getting a nice hip opening here. Straighten that left leg back up towards the sky. And shift forward, bringing your left knee to your nose, hovering that knee above the mat, engaging that core. Keep that breath moving. Float that left leg up to the sky. Shift forward, bringing your left knee to your nose. Breathing here, engaging that core, rounding that spine. And float that left leg up to the sky. Shift forward, bringing your left knee to your nose as you place that left foot down on the mat. Bring your right heel down on the mat. Both heels are touching the mat as we rise up in Virabhadrasana 1, other side, Warrior 1. Like the other side, just gently check that the hips are squared forward as much as possible. Your back right foot is at a 45-degree angle. Left toes are facing the front of the mat. Back leg is activated and strong. Your front knee is over that left ankle. Breathing here, arms can be shoulders width apart or palms together, gaze up. Breathing here wherever you are for 2 more deep breaths, really rooting down into our feet. Embodying a strong warrior, Virabhadrasana 1. On the next breath, bring both hands down around that left foot. Come onto the ball of your right foot. You're in a low lunge. Engage that core, hugging the belly to the spine, rounding that spine as you bring that left foot back to meet the right foot. Coming into a high plank, crown of the head reaching in front of you, gaze down. Breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Option 2, vinyasa, or go straight back into downward dog. Listening to your body, finding the light in this moment. Breathing here. And when you get into your downward dog, come down into child's pose, taking a moment of rest. Even when we're in the yang phase, even when we're constantly moving, we're being human doings, there's still need for rest. There's always a need for rest, for that balance. Keeping that breath moving. Moving the forehead left and right, massaging the forehead, maybe rocking the whole body. On the next breath, rise back up into your downward dog, breathing here. On the next breath, look to the front of your mat, step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Listen carefully. Inhale as you sit back in Utkatasana, awkward chair pose. Breathing here, heart lifted, sitting back, tucking that tailbone in. Definitely feeling this in the core, lifting the toes up. Option here to come into the balls of the feet for more of a challenge. Breathing here wherever you are for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heels down, straighten the legs, arms up to the sky, breathing here. Palms down at the heart and to the side, breathing here. One more Surya B, this time a little quicker. Inhale, Utkatasana, awkward chair pose. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or jump back, Chaturanga or Cobra. Inhaling as we move the heart through, upward dog or Cobra. And exhaling as we come back in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Breathe here as you gently bring your right foot forward, taking a breath, left heel coming down on the mat. Rise up, warrior 1. Standing strong, breathing here, shoulders away from the ears, back leg active, front knee tracking over that right ankle. Deep breaths here into that diaphragm, really practicing that deep breathing. On the next breath, bring both hands down around that right foot. Come onto the ball of your left foot. Using your core, bring your right foot back to your left foot, moving into a high plank. Move through your vinyasa. Option to go back into downward dog, and we'll all meet you in downward dog. In our downward dog, bringing the left foot forward. Left foot come in between both hands, right heel touching the ground. Rise up, Virabhadrasana, one other side. Standing strong, activated in both feet, both legs, shoulders away from the ears. Core is engaged. On the next breath, both hands down around that left foot. Come onto the ball of your right foot, you're in a low lunge. Use that core as you bring that left foot back to meet the right. Moving through your vinyasa or going straight back into downward dog. And once you're in your downward dog, take 3 deep breaths here. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. What is the light in this moment right now? Even if we don't know what's coming next, how can we find the light? And if we don't find the light right now, how can we let ourselves surrender and wait for a light that will appear? Taking that deep breath, nodding the head yes, shaking the head no. Look to the front of your mat, step or jump your feet to your hands. Inhaling halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sit back, Utkatasana, awkward chair pose. Breathing here, tailbone tucked in, heart lifted. And exhale, straighten the legs, arms up, coming down at the heart and to the side, breathing here. On the next breath, I'll face the camera. Just gently bring your feet about hips width apart. So your feet are hips width apart. Place your hands on your hips to begin with shoulders away from the ears. Inhale as you open the chest up to the sky. Exhale as you forward fold, coming into a very gentle forward fold. You can grab the big toes if that feels good to you. You can just place the hands on the mat, letting the head and the neck hang. And bend the knees as much as feels good, letting the chest rest on the thighs. No need to strain the back. Breathing here, shoulders away from the ears. And bring it away into the balls of the feet, really feeling it in our hamstrings. On the next breath, gently bring the hands to the hips. Rise up halfway. Stay here halfway. Take a deep inhale, a deep exhale, finding that balance, and then slowly, slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Breathing here. When you get to the top, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Next, we're going to do a variation of Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. So you can bring your feet together if that feels good to you, or you can keep your feet apart if you want to be a little more gentle on your lower back. So in Ardha Chandrasana, raise the arms up to the sky. You're going to interlace all of your fingers except for your pointer fingers. All right, so your thumbs are crossed, pointer fingers here. Breathing here. Shoulders away from the ears. Inhale as you reach the crown up to the sky. And exhale over to your right. Your right. Breathing here. I'll turn around so that I'm facing the same direction. Moving the hips out to the left. Reaching over, forming a C with the body. Keep that breath moving. Don't hold in the breath. And inhale as we come back to center. Readjust the shoulders away from the ears. Standing tall. Breathing here. Inhale the crown of the head up again to the sky. This time exhale over to the left side, forming a C with the body. The hips out to the right. Forming a C. Breathing here. Keep that breath moving. And inhale as we come back to center. For a back bend, a couple options here. It might be really intense to keep the arms up. It might feel good just to have the hands on the hips or on the sacrum. Okay, so bent behind you like this. So whatever feels good for you. If your feet are not hips width apart, this will feel a little bit better and less intense than having the feet together. Inhale as the heart opens to the sky. Exhale as you gently back bend. It's okay to push the hips forward. Breathing here. And inhale as we come back to center. Release the arms down, roll the shoulders up to the ears and back. And then reverse the roll. Roll the shoulders towards the front. Breathing here, beautiful job. Come back to the front of your mat. Toes together, heels slightly apart. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up at the palms. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, step or jump back, Chaturanga or Cobra variation. We'll all meet in Downward Dog. Moving with your own breath, your own pace. Once you get to your Downward Dog, nodding the head yes, shaking the head no. Breathing here. On the next breath, float that right leg high to the sky, long three-legged dog. Shift forward, bringing that right foot forward in between both hands. Bring that left heel down. Rising up once again into Warrior One, just for one breath. And then opening up into Warrior Two. Right toes facing the front of the mat, left toes facing the left. Chest and shoulders are facing the left side of the mat. Shoulders away from the ears, gaze over the middle finger on the right hand. Breathing here, staying strong in Virabhadrasana 2. And reverse the warrior, right palm to the sky, left palm back. Keeping that right knee tracking over that right ankle, breathing here. And coming back into Warrior Two. So listen carefully, straighten that front leg, heel toe that back foot a little closer. This is a great time to grab a block or something if you want to use that as a prop to land your right hand on. To prepare for Utthita Trikonasana triangle pose, kick your hips back behind you. So you're kicking your hips back, tucking that right hip into the left. Reaching with that right hand as you reach forward. When you can't reach anymore, the right arm comes down to the mat, left arm up to the sky. Option for the right arm to
Come onto the leg if you want a little bit of elevation, or a block, a blanket, a pillow, whatever feels good to you. If the neck hurts too much to keep the gaze up to the sky, feel free to keep the gaze down. Tuning into the body, just noticing what the body needs, keeping that breath moving here. Option here, if you want more core work, float that right arm parallel to the mat. Float that left arm parallel to the right arm. Breathing here wherever you are for 3, 2, 1. Slowly come back into warrior 2. Breathing here. Windmill both hands down around that right foot. Come onto the ball of your left foot. Use that core to bring the right foot back to the left, moving through your vinyasa or going straight back into downward dog. Keeping that breath moving, keeping that flow going, finding that light as we move along our paths on our mats. Nodding the head yes, shaking the head no. On the next breath, float that left leg high to the sky. Shift forward as you bring that left foot forward in between both hands. Bring that right heel down. Rising up for just a moment into warrior 1. And then opening up into warrior 2. Left toes facing the left side of the mat. Right toes facing the right side. Shoulders away from the ears. Gazing over the middle finger on the left hand. Breathing here, staying strong in Virabhadrasana 2. And reverse that warrior, left palm to the sky, right palm back, keeping that left knee tracking over that left ankle, getting that nice lateral stretch. And rise back into warrior 2. On this side, straightening that front leg, heel toe that back foot a little closer, coming into a shortened stance. Grab a block if you need right now for your left hand as we prepare for triangle. In triangle, we're kicking our hips back, so left hip is tucking into our right. Reaching with that left hand as if someone's trying to hand you something and they're just out of reach. When you can't reach any longer, left palm comes down to the mat, right palm up to the sky, coming into triangle pose. If the neck hurts, keep the gaze down. Feel free to grab onto the left leg if you want to have something to hold onto that helps for elevation. If you want more core work here, float that left arm parallel to the mat. Float that right arm parallel to that left arm. Getting core work here. Keeping that heart moving towards the sky. Breathing here wherever you are for 3, 2, 1. Slowly rise up into your warrior 2. Bending that left knee over that left ankle. Breathing here. Windmilling both hands down around that left foot, coming onto the ball of your right foot. Almost done with the yang portion of this class. Engage that core, bringing that left foot back to the right foot. Move through your vinyasa or go straight back into downward dog. And when you get into your downward dog, come down into child's pose, taking a moment of rest. And take this moment to tune into your intention that you set for class. Or perhaps tuning into the class intention of, can you see the light right now, wherever you are? And if you don't see the light right now, what can you do to allow for yourself to surrender to perhaps not knowing when the next light will appear, but being ready for it? Slowing the breath down as we transition into the yin portion of class. On the next breath, slowly roll up 1 vertebra at a time. When you get to a seat, swing your hips off to one side and bring your legs out in front of you. This is a great time to sit on the edge of a blanket or a pillow. So if you have a blanket, you can unroll that blanket or a pillow and sit on the edge of it to elevate the hips. So once you have that, as we start the yin portion, so we're really focusing on being a human being in this part of the class. We're receiving the benefits of our yang practice. Flex the feet out in front of you. Sit tall, adding length into the spine. Raise the arms to frame the ears. Inhaling the crown of the head up to the sky. Exhale as you forward fold. Just melting over the legs, letting the head and the neck relax. Feel free to bend the knees and just let the head hang. We're not striving or straining to be anywhere right now. We're just simply letting ourselves fall where we may be in this forward fold. Relaxing the jaw, relaxing the neck. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Breathing here. Maybe even doing a half neck circle roll if that feels good to you. Full neck circle roll. And in yin, we tend to sit in these asanas or poses, as we call them, for a little bit longer because we're really reaping the benefits of surrendering and that patience, right? We're not forcing ourselves to open up or create more space. We're naturally letting that space be created. We're really getting into the connective tissue, the fascia. And it's also soothing, it's calming. There's a lot of work being done that we don't necessarily see, but it's work that will help us open up in the long term. Breathing here, slowing down that breath. Letting the head and the neck relax, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the face. On the next breath, slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. When you get to the top, shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Good. On the next breath, gently bring the legs out into a wide V. This does not have to be super wide to the point where you're really straining your hips open. Open it up to whatever is comfortable for you in a V. This is a great time if you have rolled up blankets, another blanket or a pillow to have in front of you. It's a great time to have something to lay on if that's what you want. You don't need that. Feel free to take a moment to grab that nearby if you have it. When you are in your V, flexing the feet, lengthening the spine, sitting tall here. Raise the arms to frame the ears. Inhale the crown of the head up to the sky. Exhale as you forward fold as straight as you can with a straight back. When you can't reach anymore, just let the back melt and round. Let the hands fall where they may. And feel free to use a rolled up blanket or pillow to kind of catch yourself on, catch your head on. You may want a couple of them stacked if that feels better for you. But allow yourself to fall forward. Letting the head relax, the neck relax. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Relaxing the jaw, the mouth. these are great times during this yin practice to practice some of those grounding techniques to be in the present moment. Noticing our breath, noticing physical sensations without labeling them as good or bad, right or wrong. It's simply just observing what's coming up. And where can we receive right now? Where can we embody more yin energy? Where are we holding ourselves up right now that we don't need to? Where are we doing more work right now that we don't need to? And even if it feels like we're not doing work because we're not pushing ourselves in a certain asana, there's so much work being done under the surface that we don't see. So much space opening up, so much expansiveness. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it's not happening, that it's not there. Very similar to how, even though we don't always see a light when we're driving, right, even metaphorically, it doesn't mean that it's not there or that we'll see it or that we'll find it. Breathing here, just a few more breaths. On the next breath, slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. Shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. So we're going to transition into Baddha Konasana, but we're not going to sit in it super long. So we're going to do a little bit on our backs. So bring the feet together, knees apart. Feel free to bring that blanket or that pillow on your feet. We're only going to be here for a few breaths. So holding on to the legs, adding length into the spine, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale the crown up further. Exhale as we forward fold. Perhaps even bringing the arms out in front of us if that feels good to us. We're staying here for 2 deep breaths. We're not staying here super long. On the next breath, slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. You can move your props to the side as you shrug the shoulders up to the ears and back down. Use your hands to very gently bring the knees together. Scoot yourself about halfway up the mat and come all the way down onto your back. Stretching the arms up overhead, stretching the legs out in front of you, growing really tall. And squeeze both knees into the body, giving yourself a tight hug, perhaps rocking left and right, massaging the spine. And on your next breath, rock all the way over to your left side. If you can do twist. If you can't do twist, please do Apanasana or a variation of a twist. If you can do a twist, rock all the way over to your left side. Float your right arm up to the sky. Peel that right shoulder blade down onto the mat, coming into a gentle spinal twist. The closer the knees are to the body, the more intense the stretch. The further away, the less intense. Breathing into the spine here and letting go of doing more work than we need, letting the body unfold as it may. If you're in Apanasana, squeezing one of your legs into the body, maybe out towards the armpit, moving that knee in circles. Breathing here. On the next breath, if you're in that spinal twist, very gently bring both feet back down onto the mat, both knees bent towards the sky. Gently push into the feet, lifting the hips off for just a moment and bringing the hips back down, neutralizing the spine. Everybody squeeze the knees into the body, giving yourself a tight hug, rocking left and right, massaging the spine. And this time, rock all the way over to the right side of your body and do Apanasana on the other side if you can't do twists. Float the left arm up to the sky, peel that left shoulder blade down onto the mat, coming into a spinal twist the other side. If you're in Apanasana on the other side, you're squeezing that knee into the body, whichever knee is opposite of what you did, or out towards your armpit for a hip opener, maybe moving that knee in circles to lubricate that hip joint. If you're in that spinal twist, the closer the knees are to the body, the more intense. The further away the knees are, the less intense. Breathing here. Letting go of doing more work than we need to do. We're receiving right now. We're being right now. Helping the body just be without pushing it. On the next breath, bring both feet back down on the mat. Gently push into the feet, lifting the hips off the mat just for a moment, neutralizing the spine. Hug both knees into the chest, once again, rocking left and right. And then open up into happy baby, grabbing the outsides of both feet, either the outsides of both feet, the big toes. Keep rocking left and right, massaging the spine. And then when you're ready, doing any last movements that you need for your practice or coming down into the final pose of Shavasana. Grabbing blankets, grabbing props, a pillow, whatever you need to be comfortable for a few minutes. Relaxing and softening, just taking a few moments to tune in to the breath, to the body, and just noticing the mind without labeling, without judging. When in doubt, go toward the light. When you get to a fork in the road, choose the way that feels lightest. The light will take you to the next place. The light will lead you home.
slowly start to deepen the breath. Bringing movement into the body, wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, creating new sensations, new movement, a new beginning. And when you're ready, rolling over onto either side, coming into a fetal position, taking a moment to collect the breath here, symbolizing a new beginning, one that we can start at any time. And then coming back up onto the mat in a comfortable seated position, perhaps keeping the eyes closed or soft gaze open, perhaps sitting on the edge of a block or a blanket, coming full circle to where we started, bringing the palms together at the heart, giving gratitude to ourselves for showing up to our yoga practice this evening. Giving gratitude to our mind, our body, our breath for all that they do for us together every moment. And giving gratitude to those in our lives that show up for us, care for us, love us, teach us. And focusing on the heart space in this moment. And if we have more room in our heart in this moment, expanding that gratitude even wider to our community, to our neighborhood, perhaps to our state, perhaps our whole country. And if we have even more room, perhaps the whole world, maybe the whole universe, giving gratitude to all the beings out there. We are all connected. We can all provide light for one another. And coming back to that intention that we set at the beginning of class. And knowing that these intentions, they don't just stay on our yoga mats. They're with us when we go out into our everyday lives off the mat. The yoga practice is always around us, on and off the mat. I thank each and every one of you for practicing with me today. It is always an honor to share this practice with you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, please let me know.